The disappearance of Andrew Gosden is one of the most baffling missing person mysteries in modern Britain. What makes the case so haunting is that nothing seemed wrong before he vanished. There were no clear warning signs, no arguments at home, and no obvious reason for a 14-year-old boy to leave his life behind. Yet on a quiet morning in September 2007, Andrew walked out of his home and disappeared without a trace. Andrew lived with his family in Doncaster, a relatively quiet city in northern England. He was described as a shy but extremely intelligent teenager. Teachers at Macaulay Catholic High School often said Andrew was one of their most gifted students. He was especially talented in mathematics and science, and he had attended a summer program for gifted students at Lancaster University the year before he disappeared. At home, Andrew was known for being calm and reserved. He enjoyed reading, playing video games, and listening to rock and metal music. Bands like Muse and Slipknot were among his favorites. Despite being quiet, his family said he was happy and had never shown signs of wanting to run away. Andrew lived with his parents, Kevin Gosden and Glenys Gosden, and his older sister. Their home life appeared stable and loving. Nothing about the family situation suggested Andrew would suddenly disappear. The morning Andrew vanished started like any other weekday. It was Friday, the 14th of September 2007. Andrew woke up and prepared for school. His parents left for work early that morning, and his sister left the house ahead of him to go to school. Andrew was expected to follow shortly after. But instead of going directly to school, Andrew returned home after everyone had left. Later investigation revealed that a neighbor's CCTV camera recorded him walking back into the house. Once inside, Andrew changed out of his school uniform and into casual clothes, including a black t-shirt and jeans. He packed a small shoulder bag before leaving again. Inside the bag, he took only a few personal items. These included his wallet, his keys, and the charger for his PlayStation Portable. Strangely, he left the actual PSP device behind in his room. Investigators later found this detail unusual because Andrew loved gaming and rarely went anywhere without it. That morning, Andrew went to a nearby ATM and withdrew £200 from his bank account. This was nearly all the money he had saved. He then walked toward the local train station. At around 9:30 a.m., Andrew arrived at Doncaster railway station and approached the ticket counter. He asked for a one-way ticket to London. The employee at the ticket counter later told police that they offered Andrew a return ticket instead. The return option was only slightly more expensive than the one-way fare. Most people would have accepted it, but Andrew refused. He insisted on buying only a single ticket. This small moment later became one of the most puzzling details in the entire case. Investigators wondered whether Andrew intended to stay in London longer than a day, or if he never planned to return at all. Andrew boarded the train that morning, and the journey to London took about 2 hours. CCTV cameras confirmed that he arrived at King's Cross railway station at approximately 11:20 a.m. The footage shows Andrew walking out of the station calmly. He appeared relaxed and not in a hurry. He was wearing a black Slipknot t-shirt and carrying his small shoulder bag. This video became the last confirmed sighting of Andrew Gosden. After he stepped out of King's Cross station, Andrew disappeared into the massive city. London is one of the most heavily monitored cities in the world, filled with surveillance cameras on streets, buses, and shops. Yet despite this, Andrew was never clearly seen again. Police launched an extensive investigation after Andrew's parents reported him missing later that evening. At first, his family believed he had simply failed to return from school. It wasn't until they contacted the school that they discovered he had not attended classes that day. By the time investigators began reviewing CCTV footage, many hours had already passed. When police discovered that Andrew had traveled to London, the case quickly grew more complicated. Investigators searched through large amounts of surveillance footage from areas around King's Cross station and nearby streets. They hoped to track Andrew's movements through the city. Unfortunately, they found no clear evidence showing where he went next. Some theories suggested Andrew may have planned to attend an event in London that day. Several music concerts were happening in the city around that time. One band Andrew liked, 30 Seconds to Mars, had a concert scheduled in London that weekend. However, there was no proof that Andrew attended the concert or went near the venue. Another possibility was that Andrew planned to visit museums or attractions. He was known to enjoy science and learning, so investigators considered that he might have gone to places like the Science Museum or the Natural History Museum. But again, there was no confirmed sighting of him in these locations. Over time, investigators explored many different theories. One theory suggested Andrew had been communicating secretly with someone who persuaded him to travel to London. This person might have promised to meet him there. However, this theory raised questions. Andrew did not own a mobile phone at the time. In fact, he had previously lost one and did not seem interested in replacing it. His family also said he did not spend much time online at home. Still, investigators considered that he might have used computers at school or public libraries to communicate with someone privately. Another theory suggested Andrew may have simply wanted a day alone in London. Some people believe he could have planned a secret trip to explore the city for a few hours before returning home. If that was his intention, something may have gone wrong during the trip. London can be overwhelming, especially for a teenager traveling alone. Andrew might have gotten lost, had an accident, or encountered someone dangerous. Sadly, cases involving missing teenagers sometimes involve people who take advantage of vulnerable individuals. In 2021, the investigation saw a surprising development. Police arrested 2 men in London as part of the ongoing investigation into Andrew's disappearance. The suspects were arrested on suspicion of kidnapping and human trafficking. This news gave Andrew's family hope that new evidence might finally reveal what happened. However, after questioning and investigation, the suspects were later released while inquiries continued. Police did not confirm whether the arrests were directly connected to Andrew's disappearance, leaving the case still unresolved. Throughout all these years, Andrew's parents have continued searching for answers. His father, Kevin Gosden, has spoken publicly about the pain of not knowing what happened to his son. For families of missing persons, the uncertainty can be even more painful than knowing the truth. Every day brings questions without answers. Organizations such as Missing People have helped keep Andrew's case in the public eye. Posters, awareness campaigns, and media coverage have all been used in the hope that someone might remember seeing Andrew in London that day.
Well, it's obviously had a profound impact, as I'm sure all the families in our position would say. And it's probably easiest to try and explain it is that your life seems to be split, and it's like it's on 2 layers, that at one level you're functioning and continuing with day-to-day activities, but on another level part of you is stuck and just can't move on, and it's almost like having 2 separate parts of you, almost a bit like oil and water, and you're sort of keeping them separate somehow, but the sadness is always there and somehow permeates even into your everyday.
I mean, the very first moment, I think you just realise, well, they're not in the house, and you don't panic at that point. You start trying the logical alternatives, is he to friends or whatever.
Today, Andrew Gosden's disappearance remains one of the most mysterious missing person cases in the United Kingdom. What makes the case especially haunting is how ordinary the day began. There was no dramatic moment, no argument, and no note explaining his actions. A quiet and intelligent teenager simply woke up, left his home, boarded a train, and vanished. If Andrew is still alive today, he would be in his 30s. His family continues to hope that one day the truth will finally emerge. Whether through new technology, a witness coming forward, or someone finally speaking up, they believe the answers are still out there somewhere. Until that day arrives, the story of Andrew Gosden remains an unsettling mystery. The story of a bright 4-year-old boy who walked out of a train station in London and was never seen again.